What's up, YouTube? You checking out the Frequent Flyer, and this is my quick review of the Makerfire Micro FPV. And this is it right here. As you can see, this thing is a tiny Whoop clone, and this thing is really awesome. I like the way this thing flies. You can actually hook this up to clean flight or beta flight, so this takes it a step further than the tiny Whoop. You can actually program the rates and all in beta flight and clean flight. You have to flash beta flight on it, I think. I'm not sure if it came with beta flight on it already, but it is beta flight and clean flight compatible. And this thing is really nice in that you can program the rates to be faster in order for it to flip faster. So that was one problem with the board on the Blade and Ductrix for the tiny Whoops. Is it did go in acro mode, but the rates seemed like they weren't high enough to really flip fast enough to recover really nicely. So this one, you can go in clean flight and beta flight and put your own PIDs in and have this thing flip really fast. And the motors, usually you have to upgrade the motors on a tiny Whoop. This one seems like the motors have been upgraded to at least the fast or medium motors. So it does carry the camera well, and the camera is the tiniest camera I've seen so far as these all-in-one camera FPV systems here. And this button here changes the frequencies and the bands and all of that stuff. But this button here in the back, it actually flips the image upside down. So you can actually mount this camera upside down and press that button and it'll flip the image for you. So that's pretty awesome. And the quality of the video footage from this little camera is pretty impressive, to say the least. This thing is really nice, and it actually sees in the dark pretty nicely. I have been flying this thing at night, and this is just a really nice little package here. It's just about all you need to get started with micro FPV indoors and all, but it does fly outdoors too. But all you need is a DSM-2, DSM-X compatible receiver, so you can fly this thing with a Spectrum transmitter, or if you have a Devo that supports deviation, all you have to do is install deviation and you can fly this thing. So, and you also need a pair of goggles or FPV monitor as well. But for the most part, pretty decent deal to get started in FPV, especially if you already have a pair of goggles or FPV monitor. Pretty nice little flyer here, and I would definitely recommend upgrading the motors to some insane motors to get this thing flying a little better. But for the most part, it flies nice. The only problem that I can say I had with it flying is getting it trimmed out. Maybe one of my motors are a little weak, about to go or whatnot, but mine seems to drift to the front right a little. And I can trim it out with the transmitter, but I was unable to trim it out by using clean flight or beta flight. Calibrating the accelerometer and all really doesn't help it. So it might just be my model though. But I have been having to trim it out in the transmitter with the trims and all. But other than that, no problems with this. If you lose this thing in tall grass, it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. I did lose this thing for about a half an hour in my last video when I crashed it that time. It took me a long time to recover it because it was lost. So I wouldn't recommend, especially this color, I wouldn't recommend flying these things in tall grass or whatnot. Well, short grass, you're probably going to lose this one because it blends right in. And so, yeah, pretty awesome little flyer though. It comes with a 200 milliamp hour Crazy Pony battery, 35C, 1S, and it flies. I think you get about 3 minutes of flight time, but you can fly it long. I don't know if you can add a buzzer, but there's no buzzer on here, so you can kill batteries potentially. It runs them all the way down, and so you have to pretty much time your flights. I would say time it to maybe like 3.5 minutes to be safe. And it comes with this little charger here. No instructions manual. Didn't come with any of that stuff. I do have some 220 milliamp hour 50C batteries, but it's just a few more seconds of flight time with it. The box doubles as a storage case. As you can see, you can store your batteries and all in there. I thought that was a nice little touch. and pretty awesome. This thing came from Gearbest, and this is just a really nice little flyer, little tiny whoop clone. Oh, one other thing, it does have this little sponge insert here to allow for it to use the batteries that are traditionally used by the tiny whoop, the Blade Inductrix, but you can remove that and use the regular batteries from the E010. Basically, that's all this is the frame from the Eachine 010, which is a little more sturdy than the Blade Inductrix frame, as you can see. So you can use larger batteries with this if you upgrade the power lead here. Tune into the Chop Shop channel if you want to see what I'm going to do to this thing. I'm definitely taking this to the Chop Shop to do some upgrades to the motors and all, and the props, and I'm just going to do the whole nine, get this thing up running like a really nice little quad, even though it's already a really nice little quad. But you know, I'm always striving to get the best whoop. So oh, this whip antenna is really nice too, because it stops breakage. Like the cloverleaf antennas, we were breaking them a lot on our tiny whoops when it hits the ground upside down. So a lot of people start using the whip antenna, so they're caught up on the tiny whoop community and all with this whip antenna. And this, I can't get over how small and tiny this little all-in-one FPV system is, and this thing works nice. So that's it, the Makerfire Micro FPV Tiny Whoop Clone. Thanks for watching.